York Mets Nation, and welcome to the Bat Cave. I'm your host, the Bat Frie, Kenny Fry. Woo! What's going on out there, sports fans? Hump day! Hope everybody's doing well out there in podcast land, I guess. I don't know what the hell you call yourself. My little batarangs. I hope everybody's doing well. I had an interesting night last night. So my oldest daughter and my youngest daughter were outside hitting off the tee, practicing a little bit of softball, working on their swings, especially my oldest daughter. And so she's out there swinging, and my youngest daughter is swinging. My oldest daughter is giving her a few tips. You know, I'm watching it from the kitchen as my wife is cooking dinner. I'm cleaning off the island. And my wife says, "Oh, no, Callie got hit in the head." It's like, oh, no. So I look out the window, and her hands are over her face. And my oldest daughter walked over, gave her a hug, and is talking to her. And then my youngest daughter pulled her hands away from her face. My oldest daughter went running, screaming. My youngest daughter turned around, and blood everywhere. So as soon as I seen the blood, I knew we were going to the emergency room. I knew there was going to be stitches involved. She came in. I looked, a gash over her eyebrow. Took 5 stitches, but you spent a few hours in the emergency room. A little swelled up today, but you know it's all good in the hood. A little scar. She'll have a story now for the rest of her life, and so just like I have a story of the time I hit my brother in the head with a pickaxe when we were little kids. I think we're 6, maybe 5, something like that. I don't know how old we were, but just went back like this and clumped a little guy on his head, and he hasn't been right since, to be honest with you. We got a couple comments here. Let's check them out here before I get started. And there he is, my boy, our number 1 fan, Adam Glenn. What's up, brother? And my partner in crime on the Atomic Drop podcast on Friday nights at 10:30 p.m., Cowboy Dave Yarnell. What's up, Dave? He says, "What's up, big man? How's your daughter doing?" She's doing all right. 5 stitches, a lot of blood, but part of being a kid, I guess. Get a bat to the face. Luckily, it was just on my oldest daughter's backswing, and it wasn't a full throttle, bat to the face like what's that movie? What is it, Casino or whatever, where they take Joe Pesci's brother out and beat the holy hell out of him with a baseball bat. Yeah, and then they clumped Joe Pesci up. They lumped him up pretty good as well, and they buried them. Wasn't quite like that. It was on the backswing, clipped her. But she was super tough about it. I'll give her all the credit in the world. She was very tough about it. She said it didn't hurt. She said she was more nervous about the stitches, but then when they did the stitches, easy peasy lemon squeezy, 5 stitches. She didn't even flinch. She said it hurt a little bit, but super tough. The CAT scan was all clear, so no fractures, no nothing like that. Was she in a cage match? Yes, you should see the other person. No, like I said, it was just they're out there practicing their swings, and my oldest daughter was showing my youngest daughter, giving my youngest daughter some tips, and caught her on the backswing. My youngest daughter kind of wasn't paying attention. She didn't really want to hear what Big Sis had to say about her swing, and it lumped her up a little bit. Joe Sullivan, what's up, Sully? You can check Sully out Mondays on the Sully Squad. And last night, he and Cowboy Dave put out another great show, Extra Innings podcast. Thanks for the shout out yesterday, Joe. I appreciate it. But she's doing well, man. She is doing well, and like I said, she'll have a little scar. And like my grandfather used to say to me before she was born, whenever I had a scratch or a scrape or a cut, he's like, "Oh, you'll be better before you're married." So she'll be better before she's married. She'll be all right. Maiko Spencer, what's up, brother? Maiko says, "Glad Callie's doing fine. Stitches now. She's a badass even more." Absolutely. When she goes to jail, she's going to look really tough with that scar above, just above her eye. Nobody's going to mess with her. Yeah, she's doing good. And like I said, a little bit sore today. She woke up and she didn't really complain too much. I put an ice pack on her head because it was a little bit swelled up this morning, but I mean, she'll be fine. She'll survive. So, one more thing before I get to the Mets here, I want to give a shout out to my niece Jordana. Her softball team, Alpha Elite 16U, is currently playing out in Sandusky, Ohio, in the World Series. I'm not sure. I think it's I want to say it's USSSA sanctioned World Series. It's like, I guess it's an invitational type thing. But so far, her team is 5-0. If they win their 2 games today, they move on to the championship game tomorrow. They're currently the 2nd seed. So shout out to her. She's got a hell of a bat on her, and even better defensive player. So expect great things out of her. Like I said, 16U. They were nationally ranked earlier in the season. I'm not sure if they still are or not. Alpha Elite, terrific team there, and she's actually a 14U player playing up to 16U. Very, very good player. And Joe Sullivan says, tell her to call Jay Fine Law. Yep, absolutely. Jay Fine Law, 1-800-HURT-123. We got the number. I'm suing my oldest daughter. I'm suing her. I'm taking her for every cent she got, which is every cent I got. So I'm not getting anything out of the deal anyway. So let's hit up some New York Mets talk here, which is ugh. So we start off the second half of the season. So I mentioned this last episode that this was going to be another rough patch because we ran into a San Diego team that was clicking on all cylinders. They were playing very, very well, San Diego was, and we were coming off that 6-game win streak, and they lumped us up before the All-Star break, which wasn't a shock. I was just hoping we get a little bit of rest and able to pull 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers. Well, that didn't happen. And, that was mostly, I would say, due to offensive woes. Joe has this little smiley face there. And Stacy Northrup. Good morning, Stacy. You can check Stacy out on Mondays on the Big Blue Power Hour. Those big blue, beautiful people they are. And Adam says the Phillies are on fire. Yes, they are. You'll have to wait to see to the end to see where the Phillies are. I might see if they made the power rankings or not. So it's a lot of that has to do with the offense. Absolutely putrid offense. I just don't. It's hard to put your finger on it because the offense was, for the most part, overall as a whole last year was a very good offense. They did struggle down the stretch, so you have to kind of figure it pretty much is carried over to this season. So it's. Surprised by it, but when you look back on it, should we be surprised by it? It's been a really big struggle since pretty much last September. Where our best offensive player last September was probably Eduardo Escobar. So that's not good at all. I mean, you go back and you look at how we started off the second half of the season here with the after the All-Star break. Say it's not really the second half; it's past the second half. But anyway, against the Dodgers, first we come out game 1 there, lay an egg, 6-0, 1 hit. I feel like Bob Uecker from the movie Major League. 1 hit. That's all we got today. 1 goddamn hit. And then his co-host there, Monty's like, you can't say goddamn over the air. He's like, nobody's listening anyway. So that's what I felt like after that. It's like, you got to be freaking crapping me. You come out after the All-Star game, the All-Star break, 1 hit. That's all we can muster up. 1 hit. And what a sack of crap that is. Verlander comes out. He lays an egg, 6 walks. Goes, I think it was 5 innings, 3 earned runs because he only go 5 innings because he had 104, 105 pitches and 6 walks. Awful, terrible. Bullpen didn't help out at all. Either. Then we come back to second game. We got Senga going, our all-star, pitching really, really well recently. And what do we give him? 1 run. 1 run on 3 hits. Offense is crap. Our offense is so bad. Something has to change. Senga goes out there, pitches a terrific game. Mets have 2 errors. But Senga goes out there, 6 innings pitched, 1 earned run, only 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. He did his job. Senga did his job. The bullpen again goes out there, gives up a few runs. Hartwig and Gott struggling. Then they go out there, get a win against the Dodgers in the series finale. But again, 2 runs. So a grand total of 3 runs in 3 games. Crap. You're not going to win games like that. You're not going to win series like that. That's crap. We had a grand total of 6 hits in the last game there. Whoa, we were on fire, man. Mad Max goes out there, pitches another great game, 7 innings pitched, no earned run, 6 Ks, finally gets that ERA below 4. I guess if it was a big game, probably would have shit the bed like he did the week before, a week and a half before, when we really needed him against San Diego. He shit the bed, kind of like what he did in the playoffs last year. But I just like the offense was so bad against the Dodgers. It was it's unfathomable. It's just. It's like you look at it and like you could point at like 6 different guys throughout the lineup that are just so bad. It's like what are you gonna do? Like it's you could say trade this piece, trade this piece, trade that piece. You can trade whatever you want. It's not going to fix the issues here. I mean, I don't know what the hell the issues are. I'm not a professional hitter or not like that. But just I've mentioned this several times on the show. It seems like their approach is so different from last season. I mean, that's the only thing that I can think of. They're not patient at the plate. They're swinging at bad strikes. You have Pete Alonso, basically he's trying to be a pool hitter right now. All he's doing a Schwarber. He's just, aiming for the fences. That's it. That's what it feels like. Maybe that's not true or not. I don't know. But that's how it feels to me. He's not, since Pete's been up, what was it? Since I think 19 or whatever it is, 2019. He's been the type of hitter that can, go all, he can go to right field. He can go to right center, left field. He can use all sides of the ballpark. He had power to every part of the park. Doesn't feel that way right now. Does not feel that way this year. Striking out a lot, not walking a lot. You're a big power hitter. If he's not hitting balls in the gap or home runs or anything like that, you expect him to be on base through walks, but that's not happening either. So, and that's a huge part of it. Lindor. It was hot going into the All-Star break. We had the break. It comes out, a little bit cold here now. But that's everybody in the lineup against the Dodgers. And then they faced some pitching that was, a little bit suspect against the Dodgers. Just to name one, what's his name? Urias, I believe it is. I think that's his name. I picked him to be the NL Cy Young winner this year, in the preseason. And, he has an ERA in the 4s or close to 5 or something like that. He's been getting lit up this year. So it's just, it's another big word. It's unconscionable. It doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't make sense. Maiko says that's a Frie on Frie crime. And really, a Frie bat on Frie crime. 1-800-HURT-123 is good, but we can't help that. No, it's Bat Frie, Frie bat. I mean, we've used multiple weapons over the years. A long list of Frie injuries due to weapons, weaponry. Like I said, the pickaxe I put in my brother's skull. The rock he hit me in the face with. I'm sure we've hit each other with bats several times. We used to wrestle all the time in our bedroom. So there's been faces off box springs and, playing tackle football and stuff like that. Kicks to the groin. It's lots of Frie on Frie crime throughout the history books. And that's why he's watching. He's waiting for the power rankings. And Maiko, once again, Verlander on the mound tonight. And you know what? So the thing with Verlander on the mound tonight, it's a huge game, not only for him, but for the Mets. If they're going to shop him, if they're going to shop Verlander, what better way to have him go out there and pitch a gem? He shit the bed against the Dodgers, 6 walks. I think most of his walks came early in the game. if I remember correctly. But still, 6 walks is 6 walks, no matter when the hell you got them. And but still, only came out with 3 earned runs. But still, it's he's able to work around it. If he's able to go out there and pitch a good game, a gem like the Justin Verlander that people know and love, last year's AL Cy Young Award winner, that could help his stock rise a little bit, and maybe a team will be a little bit more interested in giving up some premium young talent for him. Now the contracts come into question. I'll talk about that in a minute. My thoughts on that. So putrid offense, like I said. Pete Alonso's to me is a huge reason why. When your stud power hitters hitting 205 now, it's inexcusable. It really is inexcusable. And I'm always harping on Kyle Schwarber. The Philly fans love Schwarber. Schwarbomb this, Schwarbomb that. The guy's hitting 186, and they love him because he hits an occasional home run. But, he's doing something. The last 4 or 5 games, he's had at least 1 hit in each game, and they've been big flies. He's doing something, but he's still hitting 186. Well, Pete Alonso's not far from that. As much as I've been ripping that, the Philly fans not really getting on Schwarber. Like, Philly fans are ruthless, with their sports. It doesn't matter what sport it is. They're ruthless. If their player's not performing, they let them know about it. But for some reason, it seems like Schwarber gets a pass. He's not a very good left fielder. He doesn't hit very well, besides an occasional home run. But I'm ripping him, and then here's Pete Alonso, 206. He's not far from that, and he's not even doing anything now. It's like poking him with a stick, like he's like a dead cat on the road, poking him with a stick, saying, "Come on, do something, wake up." It's not happening. Nothing's happening. So I'm ripping the Philly fans about this, and Met fans. We should be ripping Pete Alonso. He's our Kyle Schwarber right now. It's awful. And I think that's a big part of our reason why our offense is struggling so much, is because he's struggling so much. Like, yeah, Jeff McNeil's struggling. He's hitting like 240 something, I think, or 250 something. Marte's struggling. He's struggled all season. He was out. He was a scratch, I think, yesterday or something like that because injury issues. I know he's been playing with. He said his groin still hurts from the surgery he had in preseason. It's like, why? If it still hurts, why are you even playing? You're playing like shit. Stay out. I mean, he is stealing bases. I don't know when the last time he actually stole a base was, but he does have 20-plus steals. But still, if it bothers you that much that you're going to use that as an excuse while you're playing like shit at the plate, or a lack of effort in the outfield, at least that's what it looks like. It's optics can be deceiving once in a while, but it looks like he barely gives any effort in the outfield. It's always nonchalant or lackadaisical, in my opinion. And if it hurts you, don't play. Sit out. He's not the only millionaire that'd be sitting out. Sit out, get healthy, come back. It's mind-boggling. It really is. Nimmo's been struggling, for a little while now. He's batting in the 260s. The one saving grace is that Francisco Alvarez, whose batting average isn't great either, but for a catcher, it's not that bad. He's batting like 240, I think. But he hit home runs 18 and 19 last night in a win against Chicago, where the Mets 5 first-inning runs for the first time this season. They were up, I think it was 11-4, 9-4. They're up 11-4 at one point. They tried to give the game away. It's Cookie Carrasco could only go 4 2/3 innings. You have the bullpen come in again, Hartwig and Gott, I believe it was. Hartwig and Gott touched up for I think for 4 or 5 runs. David Robertson comes in and gives up a run. So they tried giving that game away last night. See, still you take the 11-10 win, absolutely take it, but that's an anomaly. Those 11 runs, that's an anomaly. That's not going to be an every game occurrence. My thought is it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be scraping by, and it's it's not going to be pretty. But if we're going to put together wins and series wins, that's how we're going to have to do it. We're going to have to do it with strong starting pitching and 2 or 3 guys out of the bullpen that can actually get the job done. And right now, I don't know if we have 2 or 3 guys in the bullpen that can consistently get the job done. I thought Hartwig was pitching well. Coming up the last couple of games, though, he's been getting touched up. Since we've got him through the trade, I thought he started okay, but now his last couple of games, he got touched up. I think Ottavino's been pitching a little bit better, but he did take the L against the Dodgers in Game 2, the Senga game. He got I think he gave up 1 run, made it 2-1, and then the other guys gave up a couple more runs. Check out the comments here. Oh, there she is. Eileen. Good morning, Eileen. How are you today? I hope all is well. Dirty Dom is the new North American champion in professional wrestling there, WWE NXT. Unbelievable. I did not see that coming. I'll tell you what, not to get too far off subject here, but Dirty Dom winning any kind of title, to be honest with you, was kind of surprising. But, of course, he did it dirty. He did it a little bit underhanded. He had a little bit of help. But no matter what, he's raising his hand. And I assume we'll see a rematch. And it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a lot of fun, to be honest with you. People were absolutely shocked that it happened, and that's good for wrestling. So your Yankees stink too. So the Yankees stink, the Mets stink, dugout mugs do not stink. Love dugout mug. Yeah. All right. So we'll move on from our putrid offense because it's making me want to vomit. To the next 2 series. Next 2 or 3 series could really tell if the Mets are going to be sellers or not, which I kind of like. I'm getting the feeling now that I feel like they're going to be sellers to a certain extent. It's going to be selling off some older pieces perhaps to get younger and to build the farm system up, but not a full-on sell, which is good and bad. Still, you want to keep your core of your team together. But if you're not going to go all in on a sell, then what are you really doing? Like, what are you really getting out of it? And that's why I said the Verlander start tonight could be really, really big. So we have 2 more with the White Sox. Hopefully we can come away with a win tonight. And then we have Jose Quintana going the last game against the White Sox. His debut of this his debut with the Mets coming here at the end of freaking July. Anyway, it wasn't his fault. He had a lesion on his lung that was discovered, and he had to have surgery and stuff like that. It was non-cancerous, thankfully. But he had to have that taken care of. I get that. It's out of his control. And so 2 more with the White Sox. Hopefully we can get that win tonight, get that series win. Like I said, it's not about the win streaks, it's about series wins, but we're getting pretty close to where it needs to be about the win streaks. 3 against the Red Sox. The Red Sox have been playing pretty good lately. I believe they leapfrogged the Yankees in the standings. Then they have 2 with the Yanks. And then I think after that, they have right before the trade deadline, they have, I think, 4 with Washington. With the Washington Nationals. And I think before that series, before the Washington series, if the Mets are within a game or 2 of 500, right now they're sitting six under 500. So if they're a game or 2 within 500, let's say they're sitting at 49 and 52 or 50 and 52. No. If they're sitting at 49 and 51, let's say if they're sitting at 49-51, I could see them not being a total seller. Going into that Washington series, if they're able to go into the Washington series close to 500, and that's a series where they could get above 500, even though I think the last time they played Washington, they really struggled, which was kind of like the start of the whole June swoon thing. It was absolutely awful. But I think the next couple series, these games with the White Sox, then the Red Sox and Yankees, I think that's going to tell us a lot where we're going to go I don't think we're going to be buyers, but I think if we're going to sell, if we're close to 500, I think it's going to be strategic. It's going to be to get younger and to build the farm system. Then we're just going to go ahead with what we have, maybe do a couple call-ups again, and go from there. That's what I think. I could be wrong, but probably not, because I am the smartest man alive. I don't know why I said that. Could one of the baby Mets be traded? If you're a Mets fan, you know who the baby Mets are. If you're not a Mets fan, then maybe you don't know who the baby Mets are. The baby Mets are Brett Beatty, Francisco Alvarez, and I guess you can kind of lump in Mark Vientos in there because he was up. And then I'm even going to lump in Ronnie Mauricio. So if you look at each individual player, for me, Francisco Alvarez absolutely does not get traded. Stays a Met. I think he's a budding superstar. He's charismatic. He's upbeat. Plays hard. Huge power. Well, we've seen it so far this season. 19 home runs already. And that's not even. He's missed. I think he got called up. I think it was May. I could be wrong. So he missed basically the first month of the season. So if he's here for the full season so far, he might be in the mid-20s with home runs. It's hard to say for sure, but it kind of feels that way. So now you look at. So I think Alvarez is absolutely not. Yeah, he stays no matter what. Now you look at Brett Beatty. Now that one's a little bit more interesting to me. He's played all right. He's made some really, really odd errors at third base. But errors like that are really they could be overcome. So it's not really, they're not really not like having the yips or anything like that at third base, misjudging a pop-up and stuff like that, or, it's, missing a grounder, that shit happens. You get so many of them throughout a season, it happens. It happens to all of them. So it just looks bad when your team sucks. And that's what happens, start playing the clown music and, start playing the play and, fast forward, and it looks absolutely ridiculous when he's diving for a ball in the infield that was popped up 3 miles in the air, and then it bounces and hits him in the face. I mean, that's our season in a nutshell right there. Balls to the face. And so Brett Beatty is a little bit more interesting. I think he could be included in some package deals for some really big name people, because he is still a highly ranked prospect throughout the league. He was one of the Mets' top prospects before being called up this season. Still has a high upside. He still has really terrific power. He hasn't really shown it this season. He did have a home run last night, but there's a ton of potential right there. And he does play multiple positions as well. He does play the outfield as well as third base. So that could be appealing to some people. So I'm going to say like a 70-30. 70% I say Beatty's not going to get traded, like a 30% where I say he could be traded. Ronnie Mauricio. We haven't seen him up this season yet, but I think a lot over the next couple of weeks is going to tell us if we will or we won't see him up this next season. I think my boy Nelson from Interstate Mets Report, the Amish Country Mets fan, Nelson, I believe he was talking about this yesterday on his show, that a lot depends on at the trade deadline what moves are made, whether or not Ronnie Mauricio gets called up. So if Jeff McNeil gets moved, who plays second base, plays left field, there's a better chance that Ronnie Mauricio is going to get called up to fill that void at second base and get some playing time there, even though he has been playing a little bit of outfield and second base this season to learn both positions because he's originally a shortstop. So if Jeff McNeil gets moved, there's a chance that Mauricio comes up, fills in second base, or even left field, or even DH. All those. He could do any of them because he is a very good hitter. Even though his average has now dipped below 300, he's not as hot as he was at the beginning of the season. So for me, I want to say Ronnie Mauricio is absolutely off the table to be traded, but it doesn't feel that way. I feel like a 50-50 shot that there could be a trade, but it has to be another like blockbuster deal where he's lumped in with like a Brett Beatty and maybe a veteran player. I don't know, just off the top of my head, like a Starling Marte, Brett Beatty, and Ronnie Mauricio for somebody young and good. I don't know. I'm just off the top of my head a package like that. I can't even think of anybody off the top of my head. I know I do have a scenario for Shohei Ohtani where you as much as I don't want to say, because I love Pete Alonso is my favorite player on the Mets, so I don't want to see him go anywhere. But I could see the Mets, if they want to trade for Shohei Ohtani at the trade deadline, dangle Pete Alonso out there with a Brett Beatty or a Ronnie Mauricio, one of the two, not both, and maybe a young arm or two out there. We don't have anybody in the minors that really stand out as a really good arm talent right now. But it's and that's the only like scenario I can see the Mets trading for like a Shohei Ohtani. Is that Pete Alonso has to be a part of that deal to make that somewhat realistic with the Angels. Because they'd be getting a power hitter back, because they'd be losing a power hitter. Even though Shohei Ohtani is much more than just a power hitter, he does, his average is much, much higher than Pete Alonso's. I think there's a good chance that Shohei Ohtani's the MVP. So, but if for whatever reason the Angels don't trade him, the Mets make a run at him, I think it's hard for the Mets to re-sign Alonso then if they go after Ohtani and sign Ohtani, which, I'm thinking it's probably not going to happen. I see him in Dodger blue for some reason, or I see him staying out west. Dodgers, Giants. Giants said, they're going out hunting again. They missed on Judge last year. Last season, they missed on Carlos Correa. They're going out big game hunting again, from everything that I've heard. And they got their sights square on Shohei Ohtani. So that's going to be interesting. So Ronnie Mauricio, I'm like 50-50 on. Now, Mark Vientos is one that I think somebody that will be traded first. For some reason, I feel like Buck's not high on him at all. Even when he brought him up, barely gave him any time. Gave him a little bit of DH time and then sent him back down. He wasn't producing, but it's hard to produce when you're not getting regular at-bats. You're getting, one or two at-bats every 3 or 4 games. I mean, what the hell is that? Why even bring him up for that? It's stupid. And so I feel like they're not high on Vientos. So I could see him being packaged for something, for some young arms in the farm system or something like that. He's still playing well down in AAA. Still hitting well above 300. He's leading the team in home runs, I believe, with I think 18 or 19. Where Mauricio's at, I think 16 or 17, something like that. And now arms wise in our minor league system, I'm not big on the minor league system. I don't know a whole lot about it, the prospects and stuff like that. I know there's a couple of big names that you really know. My boy Nelson from Amish Country Mets fan, Nelson, he does a really good job with the farm system when he talks farm. And he did. He talked draft picks the other day. I still have to go back and watch that. I think he said he was going to put out an episode over our draft. I have to go back and find it and check it out. I'd like to watch that. And but in the farm system, you had I think his name is Mike Vassell. Checking out his stats, high 3 ERA. I think it was like 3.99. So that's nothing that really stands out. I think that was him. Joey Lucchesi, who was up with us for a little bit. His ERA is in the 4s, I believe. Jose Buto, another guy that was up with the Mets for a starter too. His ERA is in like the 4s. So there's nobody really standing out, prospect wise for the pitchers. There is one guy I did read an article on earlier. Anthony DiComo from the Mets Beat newsletter reported Tyler Stewart a pitcher in double A right now. He started off in single A St. Lucie. He's now up in double A Binghamton. Leads all minor leagues in ERA with a 1.54 ERA. And when he was in single A, he had a 1.55 ERA in 14 starts with St. Lucie. And he has 89 strikeouts in 81 2/3 innings. I think I read that he had Tommy John surgery back in 2021. He was mostly being used as a reliever, but he says he really wants to be a starter. Says he has 5 solid pitches, the article said as well. So maybe that's somebody to watch on. He was a 6th-round draft pick last year. So maybe maybe that's somebody to keep an eye on, for in the future, for maybe next season or the season after. He seems to be a quick riser, jumping 2 classes already. So that's somebody to keep an eye on, see what's up. And yeah. So I wanted to touch on what the hell is it? Gotta find it. A comment that Maiko had. Verlander, there it is. Verlander going tonight. I said he needs to have a good start, a big start. I think to make him more appealing to teams that are looking for a starter. Now, with his big contract, $48 million or $49 million, whatever it is, due to him next season, I think I could see the Mets still trading either him or Scherzer. Scherzer's in the same boat as Verlander. I could see them trading one of those guys and still eating a large portion of that money if and only if they're able to get a good haul back. If they're able to get a haul where they get somebody's like like two top 5 prospects and a top 10 prospect, I take the chance. I eat a large portion of that money. That's a decent haul for a 40, 41-year-old pitcher, however old he is. I think that'd be a good trade in my opinion, because the risk is you don't know what those prospects are going to blossom into. But then there's the upside looking at it, like, these guys could be the next big Mets coming up. And if that means 2 years from now, they're in the on the big league roster and they're producing at a high level, then it's absolutely worth it. It's a high risk. It's a risk to take, and that's why I think it has to be at least 2 top 5s and a top 10, all prospects. And excuse me. And then I think maybe you take the chance and eat a portion of that contract. Whether it be Verlander or Scherzer. So that's just my opinion on that. I think that'd be the only way you do that. I wouldn't do it for like if somebody comes back and they offer you a guy that was a 7th or 8th round draft pick, from 2 or 3 seasons ago, that's still in low A ball, and a middle reliever that's 31 years old with an ERA of 4, and then a starter that has an ERA of 4 that's 30, 31 years old. Like, I wouldn't take that. I wouldn't take that trade. I would not throw away $48 million, eat a portion of that contract for some guys that aren't producing already at the big league level. I would take the chance on some up-and-coming big prospects, and then I would eat the money. That's my opinion on it. Let me know your thoughts on that as well. That's why I think that the Verlander start is so important. And then so it's Verlander, Quintana. There's probably going to, against the Red Sox, I would think it would go Senga, or would it go Scherzer, Senga? It'd probably go Scherzer, Senga then against the Red Sox, and Scherzer, Senga, Carrasco. I don't even know why the hell we do that anymore. But that was my thought on that. Anyway, so before I go any further, I'm going to do a sponsor read here real quick. I love doing the sponsor reads. I don't know why. I have a lot of fun with it. MonkeyColtCoffee.com. Check out MonkeyColtCoffee.com. Bourbon chocolate chip infused coffee, toasted coconut rum. My favorite so far, I should say, my favorite is the toasted coconut rum. They have a new flavor coming out very soon. Just a regular coffee, for you coffee drinkers that don't like the flavored coffees. A Sumatran blend, I believe it is. All that at monkeycoldcoffee.com. Also at monkeycoldcoffee.com, they have T-shirts for sale, coffee mugs, tumbler cups, which I have the coffee mug and tumbler cup, and I have the cold brew pitcher. I am just one big Monkey Cold Coffee fan. Number one fan, I'm telling you, right here, the Bat Frie. So they have the cold brew pitcher, K-cup adapter. If you only have a K-cup machine and you still want to try the Monkey Cold Coffee, they have an adapter you can purchase so you can use their coffee that way. Also, a rum cake, which is very, very good. I've talked about it before where, I've had Jack Daniel's specialty cake and it's actually garbage. I couldn't finish it. I'm a fat guy, so I finish cake. I don't let that stuff go to waste, and I couldn't do it. It was just did not have a very good taste. But the cake that Monkey Cold Coffee sells, absolutely terrific at monkeycoldcoffee.com. So get yourself some coffee or cake or some swag, and at checkout, use the promo code OOTB Sports for 10% off. That promo code, once again, is OOTB Sports at monkeycoldcoffee.com. And remember, a portion of the proceeds are donated to pediatric cancer research. So all good stuff there at monkeycoldcoffee.com. Absolutely love it. I got a couple comments here. We got Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Yo, Kenny. Greetings from Japan. What's up? Hope all is well in Japan. Actually, I have a Maiko Spencer's from Japan. Right, Maiko? Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Nice to hear from you, buddy. Eileen says, damn, work cutting into my back cave time. That's bull crap, Eileen. That's bull crap, and you know it. You got to tell them. I told you get a pass for this. You got to have a pass. Say, I need my back cave. Even though it's not Yankee talk, but still, you need it. You got to have it, especially on a Wednesday morning. Back to Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Were you on the Interstate Mets report yesterday with Nelson? I feel like that name's familiar for some reason. Are you the prospect from Japan that the Mets are looking to sign? They had Billy Epler over there looking at a Japanese pitching prospect that they said is a lot like Chris Bassett, but throws harder. So that's interesting to me. And, I loved Chris Bassett. I thought he did a terrific job last season with the Mets. That's another guy I was hoping they'd re-sign instead of Carrasco. And we got Carrasco. Yes, yeah. And that's what I was listening to the Amish the Amish show, Interstate Mets report with our good friend, the Amish country Mets fan, and I thought I heard him talking about you, and you mentioned your name, and so it's good to hear from you. I'm very fast, but not in the Japanese prospect, but in a huge fan. I didn't think you were actually the Japanese prospect, but I knew there was a Japanese prospect with the Mets that they were just talking about recently. That's why I brought it up. But again, Maiko Spencer actually grew up in Japan for a short time, and I don't want to go into the story why he didn't grow up there for a long time, but yeah, Maiko Spencer used to live in Japan. Thanks for checking the show out. Thanks for commenting. Absolutely fantastic. I appreciate it very, very much. And so now we'll hit the NL East standings here on the home stretch of the Bat Cave. I don't know why I read these off. I feel like I have to read it off just because that's the division the Mets are in, even though they're nowhere near the NL East lead, but I'm still going to read it off. I won, of course, you have Atlanta, probably the best team in baseball right now, 61-32, 5-5 in their last 10. The Philadelphia Phillies at sitting in second place now at 52-42, 9.5 games back. They're 7-3 in their last 10. Miami Marlins, 53-44, 10 games back, 3-7. So they're starting to come down a little bit, I think. And that's one of the things I said. I expected them to come down. I expected the Diamondbacks to come down, to fall back a little bit. The Reds, I expected to fall back, and they're all starting to do that. So the Marlins are 10 games back. The Mets are in fourth place, 44-50, 17.5 games back. Yikes. 6-4 in their last 10. The Nationals, 38-57, 24 games back, 4-6 in their last 10. So that is your NL East standings. I'll read one more comment here before we hit the Stacy Northrup says she knows the story. She was there. I think Maiko's at going to a doctor's appointment, so he's not going to comment on it. He's going to be a silent. He's going to be silent about it. So you'll have to check show out again, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and we'll get the story out of Maiko. Says Marlins started losing when they sent down their best pitcher Yuri Perez to Double-A. See, I don't know about that. Are you a Marlins fan, Yoshinobu, or are you a Mets fan? Why would they send Yuri Perez down if he was their best pitcher? That's why I don't understand. I don't know enough. I do know that Sandy Alcantara was struggling earlier in the season, but I don't know where he's at right now. If he's pitching better or not. But I know their offense, besides Luis Arraez, isn't really made up of a whole lot of bangers. There's not a whole lot of guys there that are can produce long term. It seems like. I think earlier in the season, the first 2 or 3 months they were playing way above their head. Including Luis Arraez having a terrific season. He was flirting with 400 for the longest time, and you had a couple other guys in that lineup that were also producing above their head, and I just think it's they're starting to play at the level that they're expected to play at, which is near 500, because they're not a terrible team, the Marlins. They just don't have any of those guys that take them to the next level right now, which it's kind of scary where they're sitting at. And they don't have the talent, to take them to the next level yet. But it's probably on its way. So they do have some tradable pieces. And they do have some pieces that they've gotten over the past few seasons by trading away, higher named players. So they've been building their farm system up. He's a Mets fan. Okay, fantastic. And he says Yuri Perez was a pitching phenom, only threw 60 innings in the minors. Someone got hurt. They brought up Yuri. The hurt pitcher got healed, and Yuri went back down. I'm going to have to look that up. I know I heard of his name, Yuri Perez. That's not a name you forget. And so it sounded like he was pitching well when he was up. I'm surprised they pulled a Buck. Buck Showalter's not a huge fan of young players. They pulled a Buck. As soon as the hurt guy's back, they send that guy that's been pitching well, they send him back down instead of, maybe use him as a sixth starter, maybe. That's always an option. Or a long relief just to keep him in the rotation, just keep him on the roster anyway. So we're going to move on to the wild card standings. This is a little bit more realistic for the Mets-wise. You have the Giants sitting on the number 1 seed for the wild card. I believe they're 1.5 games. 1.5 games up on that. Arizona's sitting in the second spot for the second wild card at 53-42. They're a half game up. The Phillies are sitting in the third spot right now, 52-42. They're a half game up on Miami, who's at the 4th spot, 53-44. Then you have Cincinnati, 50-46. Like I said, they're coming back down to earth a little bit. They're 3 games out. Then you have San Diego, 45-50. They had that nice little run where they got hot. They won a bunch of games, a bunch of series, and then they ran into the Phillies, and the Phillies just slapped them around all over the field. I think the Phillies took 3 out of 4 against them, which shocked me. I thought San Diego would get a split with the Phillies, if not take the series. But the Phillies, Phillies are playing good ball. San Diego sitting 7.5 games back. Then you have the Cubs and the Mets both sitting at 44 and 50, 8 games back. So, like I said, with the next couple series, it's going to tell a lot. If the Mets can get closer within a game or two of 500, I think I don't think we're going to be buyers. I don't think we're going to go out there and sell the farm to get 1 or 2 big bats or whatever or arms if we're a game or 2 under 500. But I don't think we sell as hard as we do if we're 10 games under 500. So we're within striking distance still, 8 games back. That's still a lot. There's still a lot of teams that we got to get past, but it's doable. It's absolutely doable, and it's going to be interesting. The next week and a half is going to be very interesting. It's going to be extremely frustrating as a Mets fan, but that's what you sign up for. It's going to be interesting. All right, so before I do the power rankings, which is the final topic of the show, I'm going to go ahead and do another sponsor read for our boy, Jay Feinlaw, a.k.a. Attorney Big Al. You can reach Big Al at 1-800-HURT-123. That's 1-800-HURT-123. Jay Feinlaw specializes in motor vehicle accidents, slip and fall, workman's comp, and personal injury claims. You can call Jason 24/7 directly at 267-962-4895, or our boy, the Asian Persuasion, Maiko Spencer, at 267-303-7324 for a free consultation. They now have 3 office locations throughout the Pennsylvania and New Jersey area. In the Garden State of New Jersey, Cherry Hill, New Jersey, located at 3 Greensward Lane, Cherry Hill. And the number there is 856-209-5258. And in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, located at 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120. The phone number there is 267-888-2980. And finally, the Steel City of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, with the offices located at 500 Grant Street, Suite 2900 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The number there is 412-365-8151. That's Jay Feinlaw, Jason Fine, Attorney Big Al. Tell him the Bat Frie sent you. And I'm back. Got a comment here before I hit the power rankings. Adam Glenn, the Phillies want the top wild card. I like the Phillies' chances. They got to stay steady. They got to stay. They got to keep playing a high level, and I don't see why they can't get the top wild card spot. To be honest with you, I mean, the Giants are another team that were putting all their eggs in one basket, trying to get Aaron Judge and Carlos Correa, and it fell apart for them. So they come in with a patchwork offense. They're playing above themselves. I don't think they can keep this up. I think they'll come back. They hit a hot streak, and if we've learned anything in the last season and a half, we know that seasons are like roller coasters. There's lots of highs, but there's also lows. The Giants are riding a high right now after being pretty much on a low for the first better part of the first half of the season. They hit a high, a really good high. Guess what? It's going to come back down. It's just a matter of when, how late in the season, and if they build a lead. So the Phillies right now, they're riding high. I feel like eventually they're going to hit a low. So, and the Mets have been low, so hopefully eventually they hit a high. Hopefully. That's how I view seasons. That's how I look at it. And Like, for instance, you look at the Braves last season, they started off low, they hit the nice high, leveled out, get to the playoffs, and then they hit the low. So take a sip here before I do the power rankings. Dugout mug. I love dugout mugs. Got my other mug here. I got all the mugs back here. Dugout mugs. I got another Mets one. I got a Mr. Met dugout mug. I got a Reading Fighting Phil's dugout mug. I also have a Mike Piazza Hall of Fame signed mug or whatever it is. It's engraved with a signature. Pretty cool stuff. All right, we're gonna move on to the much anticipated, award-winning Batcave Power Rankings. Listen to the crowd. They're going wild. Here we go. The Power Rankings. Number 10, I have a tie at number 10. It's a tie. I really struggled with it, but I have the Astros and the Miami Marlins at 10. The Astros sitting at 52-43, 5-5 in their last 10. And the Marlins, like we've talked about already, 53-44, 3-7 their last 10. I had them ranked higher 2 weeks ago. I'm not sure exactly where I had them ranked because I cannot find my rankings from last week because I jostled everything about and I lost it. So maybe. No, that's not it. Anyway, excuse me. So at number 9, I have the San Francisco Giants. Like I said, playing really good ball right now, but I expect them to hit that downturn of the roller coaster. 54-41, 8-2 of their last 10, playing very, very good. They're sitting at 9. Number 8, I have the Toronto Blue Jays, who the last 3 seasons I picked to be the World Series champions, and I'm still riding with them this season. The Blue Jays are 53-42, 8-2 in their last 10. They're starting to play better now as well. Even with Alek Manoah struggling the way as much as he has, which doesn't make sense at all. Whatever the hell happened to Alek Manoah does not make sense. To go from what he did last season, absolutely, fantastic last year. I'm not sure where he finished in the AL Cy Young voting, but I think it was pretty high. To what happened to him this year, it's just a complete turnaround. It's absolutely, it doesn't make sense. It does not make sense at all. Like, you can see a guy having a crap season after having a really good season, but this is worse than crap. This is, if you can imagine something worse than crap, that's what it is. So you kind of feel bad for him. They sent him down to the minors. It started off not so well down there, but I think he had like one game where he pitched decent. They brought him back up, and I feel like his first start got knocked around. His second start pitched better. Then now his last start, he got knocked around again. I think that's how it went. So hopefully he finds it. Number 7, I have the Brew Crew, 52-43. They're lingering around. They're kind of hanging around. The NL Central is open to pretty much everybody yet. So even though Pittsburgh has been free falling, they're still within I think 10 games or so. Number 6, I have the Fighting Phils, 52-42, 7-3 in their last 10. They've been playing really, really good baseball. So if you're a fan of the Batcave, I'm coming up on a year, I think next week, of doing the show. If you remember last season, I talked a lot about the scariest team in baseball being the Philadelphia Phillies. And, they proved it. They got hot at the right time. They took it all the way to the World Series. I don't feel that way about them this year, about them being the scariest teams. I feel like their starting pitching is like a huge question mark for them. If they can get that figured out, then they'll absolutely, they're absolutely back to being to one of the scariest teams because their offense is very, very good. Bullpen's not bad, but their starting pitching is like lacking an ace right now. Between Nola and Wheeler struggling the way they have, and but they're winning and they're winning a lot right now. So number 5, I have the Dodgers, 55-39, 8-2 in their last 10. They're playing really, really good ball right now. Even with Kershaw, I think he's out hurt right now. I think he's throwing a bullpen session. I thought I heard on the MLB radio this morning. But they're playing well. Even with a guy I picked as the preseason NL Cy Young winner, I think it was Urias. I picked him as the preseason Cy Young winner, and he has not pitched well at all. Number 4, the Texas Rangers, playing very, very good. 57-39, holding on to that first place out west. 6-4 in their last 10. They just playing very good. Uvalde, he's a potential AL Cy Young Award winner. He's had a terrific season pitching for the Rangers. Trevor Simeon, he's had a really good season. Seager's coming around. A lot of other guys producing on that Rangers team. That's a team to watch out for. If I had to put my money, if I had to put my eggs into one basket, I think I would go with the Rangers in the American League. I feel like they're so dangerous. I said that preseason they're the scariest team coming into the season because they had so much talent that didn't play well the season before. They just feel like that they're going to get it together and pull it all in. And so far they have. Even picking up Jacob deGrom from my beloved Metropolitans, with him going down right away, it hasn't affected them at all. And so I think they're the scariest team in the American League right now. Number 3, I have the Tampa Bay Rays. They were 1 for the longest time. 2 weeks ago, they dropped out of that 1 spot into the 2 spot. Now I had them drop down to the 3 spot, sitting at 60-38. Now the second best record in the league, no longer the top record. 3-7 in their last 10. It's the Orioles are 1 game out now, so that's they're still playoff bound, no doubt, but it's they're gonna have to go in through the wild card, possibly if Baltimore keeps playing the way they're playing. At number 2, I have the Baltimore Orioles, 57-37. Like I said, 1 game out of the first place with Tampa Bay. 8-2 in their last 10, so they picked up a lot of ground in the last 10 games. So Baltimore, a young team, super hungry, playing well. I know on extra innings they talked about could the Orioles be the next Houston Astros? Who, the Houston Astros. I've talked about this before. I remember reading a Sports Illustrated article. I don't know how many years ago. Had to be at least 6 or 7 years ago, where they had a couple prospects on the cover, and I don't remember who the prospects were, but I do remember Altuve being one of them, and because they talked about him extensively about how the Astros are building up through their farm system, and the Astros were absolutely terrible back then, really, really bad, and it's paid off. I mean, granted, the whole cheating scandal and stuff like that, but year in and year out, they're a perennial powerhouse over the last 4 or 5 seasons, so it's really paid off for them. So the Orioles, it seems to be that they're building through their farm system, working, playing with the younger players, bringing them up at the right time, and Adley Rutschman's a prime example. Pretty much a superstar catcher right now in the American League. All-star this year and everything. So I have Baltimore at number 2, and number 1, drum roll. Number 1's the Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta Braves, 61-32, 5-5 in their last 10. They've been fantastic this year, and I hate saying it. I just want to. They lost last night, which is fantastic, but Austin Riley, a couple home runs, and it just keeps going. It just keeps going. It keeps going. It's disgusting. Hate it. Can't stand it. Feels like they've been winning for my whole entire life. I'm 43 years old. I feel like every year they win a division. Since I've been born. That's what it feels like. I know it's not quite that bad, but at least since 1990, it seems like every year. It's awful. It's like a nightmare. It's like Groundhog Day. Yep. Adam Glenn from not ranked to 6th. Yeah, and they could easily climb up a little bit if they continue winning and the Dodgers stumble a little bit. They could be in the Batcave top 5. So now I'll be doing the weekly power rankings for the rest of the season. Yoshinobu Yamamoto says Braves lost 3 games in a row. They've lost 3 in a row, but they're playing really, really well. So, I mean, like again, I talked about your ups and downs throughout a season. 3 in a row to them is nothing. They could run off easily a 6-7 game win streak just like that again. So it's not – I'd be more concerned if they're like, 5 or 6 in a row. That's a little bit more concerning than 3 in a row for the Braves. It's not – I don't think it's a big deal. They played some pretty good competition recently, so you expect a little bit of a slide. Eileen says the Boo Braves. Absolutely Boo Braves. Adam Glenn says the Braves are a good regular season team. Yeah, and that's, all those seasons winning division titles and how many World Series they got to show for it. They had like 30 years of division titles and 2 World Series. So yeah, Braves. Stick it. So, yeah. Well, that's pretty much all I have for today. A quick show, an hour and 7 minutes right now. Let me check it out here. I think I can do another sponsor read here before I get out of here. Well, I'm going to do the show schedule. That's what I'll do before I forget. All right, here we go. The brand new show schedule is out. All right. So we got something for everybody here at Out of the Box Sports Entertainment. So listen up there, Mr. Yamamoto. Mondays at 4:30 p.m., Joystick Junkies for you gamers out there. 6 p.m., the Sully Squad talking Philly sports. 8:30 p.m. on Monday. 8:30 p.m. on Mondays, the Big Blue Power Hour talking New York Giants football. Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m., Commanders Gridiron. I believe that starts next week. 8:30 p.m. on Tuesdays, Extra Innings talking all Major League Baseball. Wednesdays, 10 a.m., The Bat Cave. 8 p.m., College Football Frenzy. I believe that returns next week as well, talking all college football. And then 9:30 p.m. on Wednesdays, Dem 215 Boys talking Dallas Cowboys football. Thursdays at 7 p.m., Fuji's Philly Flair talking Philly entertainment. Either it's sports or entertainment, anything. Like he had recently a super fan on. I can't think of his name right off the top of my head, but yeah, they just had a Philly super fan on last Thursday. Terrific show. I can picture the guy in my head. I can't think of what the hell his name is. Shit, it's driving me nuts. But yeah, so 7 p.m., Fuji's Philly Flair. Fridays at 10:30 p.m., the Atomic Drop podcast with myself and Cowboy Dave, talking WWE wrestling, old school, current product, pay-per-views, all that good stuff. Saturdays, 11 a.m., when it's football season, Irish Notre Dame Fighting Irish pregame, and then the Notre Dame Fighting Irish postgame as well. And then 10 p.m., the Vegas sports scene with myself. Sundays, you'll have Eagles, Giants, Cowboys pregame and postgame shows. And I might occasionally do Raiders, depending on what time the Raider games are. I work night shifts, so usually it's not feasible to do it, but we'll see. Also coming soon, you have the NFC East Roundtable, Lights, Camera, Action, which is going to be like a movie show, talk about movies and like TV series and such. The Debate Room, which is going to be lots of arguing. And the Birds Corner, talking Eagles football. So that's all the great stuff we have happening here on Out of the Box Sports Entertainment. Can't wait. Like I said, something for everybody. And if you want to do a podcast that you don't see up there, reach out to us. Eileen says, I will have to watch from the beginning. Silly work call cut into my time. See, that's when you put me on, you push mute on your work call, pretend like you're listening, you'll go, oh, yeah. But actually, you're watching the Batcave. They don't know. What the hell do they know? No, it's all right, Eileen. Thank you for commenting and checking it out no matter what. I appreciate it very, very much. Every comment from everybody checking the show out, I appreciate 100 times over. More than you'll ever know. Adam Glenn says the wrestling show is awesome. Thanks, Adam. I don't know if I'll be on this Friday night. We have a softball tournament at the beach, and we'll be staying at a campground. I'm not sure what the Wi-Fi is going to be like, so it's going to be Maiko and Cowboy Dave, and I'm going to try to poke my head in to talk some wrestling, but I can't guarantee it. And then I will not be on Saturday or next Wednesday, so there will be no Batcave next Wednesday either because we'll be away still. My oldest daughter has a All-American collegiate catching camp. She's going to be attending, and they want the parents there to talk to them and stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to that. So there won't be any Batcave next week. No Las Vegas sports scene. I may not be on the Atomic Drop podcast. So you're going to have a week of pretty much no Bat Frie. I know you're all excited. Big Mike isn't doing the show here anymore. He's on Edge of Philly Sports. You'll have to check out his Facebook page. It's hard to say. He did put a video up thanking everybody at Out of the Box Sports. We love Big Mike. Big Mike's awesome. I really enjoyed watching Big Mike's show. He always made fun of me and made me cry, secretly in the corner. He'd always say, "Oh, the Mets are 86 and forever," and I'd go, I'd put my thumb in my mouth and weep a little bit. So, Big Mike's exclusively at Edge of Philly Sports, I believe. So you'll have to go to his Facebook page and watch the video that he put out. It explains a little bit better than I can right now because I don't remember exactly all what was said, and I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth. So that's all I got for today. Like I said, beginning of the show, I want to give a shout out to my niece, Jordana. She plays for the 16U Alpha Elite. They're currently at 5-0. They're playing the World Series out in Sandusky, Ohio for 16U softball. And if they win their 2 games today, they play in a championship 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, I believe. 9:30 tomorrow morning. I think they're currently playing now. The game either started 11:30, so they're either getting ready to play or they are playing right now. So good luck to them. Hopefully they get the couple wins they need today and continue to move on. So that's all I got for today. Thank you everybody for checking the show out. Make sure to tune in 2 Wednesdays. I got one more comment here. I'm not going to leave any comment unread. Let's see here. Your thoughts on 12 teams have scored 10 plus runs. That's pretty interesting. That's I was listening I was listening to MLB radio on the way home. Then I was watching a little bit of Sports Center when I got home. As much as I hate ESPN, when Sports Center's on, I will watch a little bit of Sports Center. I thought that was pretty cool. You haven't seen a whole lot of runs. Like crazy runs scored this year. There was a couple games where you had some teams scoring in the 20s, blowing other teams out. But I like it when you have something like that where basically half the teams, in the league scored 10 plus runs. And a lot of those games, not a lot, I guess some of those games, both teams scored the 10 plus runs. So one of those teams are, scored 10 plus runs and still lost. For instance, the Braves game, I think they lost 16-13. And the stat that I heard that made me chuckle a little bit was the Diamondbacks, when scoring, was it 13 plus runs? I think it was 13 plus runs. The Diamondbacks are 86-0. 86-0 when scoring 13 plus runs, I think, since they became a team. The Braves were on a 186 game win streak when scoring 13 plus runs, and they just happened to lose that game. So now they're like 186-1. The last time they lost a game where they scored 13 or more runs was like 1990 against the Montreal Expos, and that game was 16-14. So that's wild. And again, the Mets winning 11-10, having 11-4 lead, and trying to give the game away. I think the White Sox had 2 runners on last night when Tim Anderson hit that ball to center field, and I'll tell you what, man. Watching that highlight, 'cause I was at the hospital with my youngest daughter when that was going on. Watching that highlight this morning, Tim Anderson just missed that. I don't want to say it was a hanger, but it was definitely hittable, and he just missed it. And he knows he just missed it because after he hit it, he slammed the bat down. He was pissed. But yeah, that was pretty neat. All those teams scoring all those runs yesterday. Who else was there? It was there was a doubleheader. Oh crap! Who was it? Was it the Reds and Giants? Maybe. I think their second game that both those teams had over double-digit runs. I could be wrong. I don't know, but yeah, more runs, the better. That's another thing I just thought of it. One of the things that I think that have hurt the Mets this season is the pitch clock, the timer thing, and that's something I talked about earlier and before the season started. After I watched a couple of the games with the pitch clock, I said with the age of some of these Mets pitchers, it makes you wonder if they're going to tire out quicker, and I think that's been a huge issue. They've been throwing a lot of pitches in the game, and they're not lasting more than 5 innings. And just that rapid speed, it makes you wonder if they're able to take their time and take longer. Do they have better control? Do they have better command? Are they able to go deeper? I mean, we'll never know. I mean, last night's game, 11-10, I think was still a 4-hour game. So, but that's something to think about as well. As things to kind of blame the season on. The way it has gone. It's not the main reason. It's excuses are like buttholes. Everybody has one, and some people have a couple. I guess I don't know. All right. Well, that's it for me. I'm holding out, stalling for one more comment to see if I get anything else here. Like I said, if not. Friday, I may or may not be on Friday. I'm going to try to be on. Pop in on Cowboy Dave and Maiko and talk a little bit of wrestling. But I will not be on Saturday, and I will not be on the Batcave next Wednesday. So next time you'll see me for sure will be the following Friday on the Atomic Drop podcast. But make sure you check me out on the Batcave Wednesdays at 10 a.m. except for next Wednesday. Same bat time. Same bat channel. Let's go Mets.